Guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is going to be my top 5 makeup palettes. I wanted to do this video for a very long time because I feel like it's very hard to decide what palette is going to be something that you can get use every day out of. Yeah, these are just my favorites that I personally love and I keep on my vanity every day because I reach for them, and whenever I travel I find myself being okay with only taking one palette and not having to reach and grab a different one from a different palette or a single eyeshadow. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into the video. The first palette I want to go ahead and talk about is an oldie but a goodie. It is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I've had this palette for a very long time and I used it a lot when I first started doing YouTube. But this, and it smells just like chocolates. This palette is my favorite to take along on trips because I feel like I can get everything in this palette. It has a great transition color, great neutrals. If I want to do a pop of color, there's green, purple, and I feel like it just has everything you need whenever you're wanting to do a makeup look. So this is definitely in my top 5, and I'm not going in any specific order. These are just the 5 that are my favorite, but this one has been my favorite for quite some time. The next eyeshadow palette that is one of my top faves is probably not any surprise to any of you if you are very familiar with the beauty community. It's the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This palette, you guys, it just screams my name. It has this shade in here called Primavera, and that color, as you can tell, is my all-time favorite eyeshadow. You can just create any look with it. It comes with a dark brown, so you can get an outer crease if you want to smoke it out, and many different transitions. Like it has like this red brown and these orange shades. Like it is just a good palette to have. I love this palette. I always keep this one on my vanity as well back here because it is one of my favorites. And yeah, I just love it. I love it so much and I take it every time I go out of town. The next palette I'm going to go ahead and mention is by Kylie Cosmetics, surprisingly, and it is her Burgundy palette. This palette has to be her best one by far. I love the cranberry shades, and she also put in like browns and like this beautiful gold. Like it's just such a pretty color. So right here, I love this palette. I do own the bronze palette and the royal peach palette, and this one by far is my favorite. Not only are the colors amazing, but the consistency with each shadow is so good. It's so pigmented, so creamy, so easy to work with, and I feel like it's just universal. Like you can do so many looks. So this is definitely in my top 5 because it is amazing. And it's so easy for travel. Like it's so tiny. The next palette I'm going to go ahead and mention that's in my top 5s. I also keep this one on top of my vanity right here because I always reach for it, and it's the Violet Boss eyeshadow palette in Holy Grail. You guys, this palette I have debated so hard and long to get. Don't mind like the translucent powder right here, but I mean this palette has it all. Like that cranberry shade right here, that's that cranberry shade, like it's just so unique. I love this palette so much, and it's so easy to work with, and they're just so creamy, and you can create so many looks with this palette. I always take this palette whenever I go out of town because I feel like I can create anything with it. It even gives you like these 2 dark brown shades so you can smoke it out as well. It's just a great palette. I was on the fence about getting this palette because it is pricey, but once I did purchase it, it was so worth it. The next palette that I am going to mention that is one of my top 5s is the Morphe 35R palette, and surprisingly this is my favorite palette that they've ever made, because I mean, not only are the colors completely stunning, like all these warm colors just scream my name. I was actually debating whether to get this palette. I was actually in California when this palette launched, so I was near a Morphe store that they have there, and I was debating on getting it because I own quite a bit of palettes from Morphe. I owned the 350 palette, and I actually gave that one away because I just did not care for it. I felt like the shadows were very chalky, and I mean, I just felt like they were hard to work with, so I ended up giving that one away. I own the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette, and I don't use that one as much as I would like to. I just felt like the same with the 350. I feel like they are very chalky, and I don't know, I just didn't see anything great about those palettes. I also own the 25A and the 25B palette, A and the 25B palette. I've used the 25B palette a little bit more than the 25A. This middle shade right here, oh my god, it reminds me so much of Pink Champagne from Anastasia Beverly Hills. But the same with these palettes, like I just didn't feel like they gave me that wow factor. Like I just always wanted to use these palettes. I didn't feel like they stood out from the other ones, but I mean, that's why I was basically so skeptical about getting this palette, just because I thought it was going to be the same as their other ones. And whenever you hear people say that the 35R palette is so creamy and so buttery, they are 100% telling you the truth. Like these shadows, I have them swatched right here. They are gorgeous. They're so blendable, and the shades I feel are so unique, like you don't see them in all the other palettes. A lot of these shimmers stand out. I love this palette so much, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody that is unsure about what palette to get from them. I would definitely recommend the 35R because it is one of my top 5s, and I've only had it for about almost a month now, and I use it almost every single day. Every single day I almost use this palette. I haven't had the chance to really travel with it, but I know when I do, I'm not going to regret it because it's gorgeous. The colors are so unique, and I just love it. So that wraps up my top 5 eyeshadow palettes. I hope that helped many of you guys that were just unsure of which palette to get. I chose these eyeshadows to be my top 5 for a reason. They're my personal favorites, and I stand behind them 100%. So I recommend them if you're on the hunt for a good everyday eyeshadow palette. So with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.